Hello everyone, Lorenzo here. So an interesting thing happened to me over the weekend after I was in Paso Robles playing at Libretto. The day after, I was trying to cook a romantic dinner for my wife. We were out there at an Airbnb and I cut my finger. I ended up having stitches on my finger. And it basically, I'm not able to play the saxophone for about 10 days until this really recovers. Which led me to do this video because I always talk to my students about all the things that you can actually practice without your horn, without your saxophone, or without any musical instrument for that matter. And I thought this was a great opportunity for me to talk about this because I cannot play the saxophone for a few days. So I thought I'd just let you know what the kinds of things that I love to practice and I love to do in order to really, move forward, get better, develop my language, and still, get things going, even though you're not, able to play your horn. So this applies to you if I know a lot of people are really busy and they are, they don't have their horn around, but they still want to practice. And some people think, I've had the misconception of some students thinking that they can only practice music when they have their saxophone, right? So if they don't have their horn around or the piano or something, they don't do anything. And there's a lot you can do. In fact, this reminds me because through the past 5 years, I've actually developed so many things that I've been doing without my horn that actually got me a lot better. So then when I grabbed my horn, a lot of things started showing up. And actually, this is when I improved the most, even more so than when I played too many hours a day. It's okay if you have the time to actually play. That's totally fine and that's awesome. But if you don't, there's a lot of things that you can do. And I also call these the NET practice or net practice because it's no extra time. Some of these things you can do as you're washing the dishes, cleaning your house. So it's really great because you can be on a walk and you can be practicing certain things in your mind. Now, there are other processes that I'm going to talk about that you do need to sit down and just spend like 20 minutes or so. But the cool thing is you can do this most of the time anywhere, as long as you have one or two little tools that you can apply. Anyway, so here's the first thing that I love to do. Practice, if you're a saxophone player or even a piano, but for saxophone players mainly, just practice your fingerings, practice evenness. In your mind, grab something like a pencil, right? You can do this anywhere where you have even just tapping on a desk. And what I will do is I'll practice the evenness. I always talk about how to get your fingers really even. So I would, if you have a PDF available or if you do know exactly what you're going to practice or kind of solo, I would just, for example, grab an exercise and just do the fingerings. And really focus, even though you're not having the saxophone, focus on that perfect evenness in your fingers, right? You can do this for like a few minutes. And actually, put the correct fingerings for whatever you want to play. I would even improvise over a standard, right? I would actually try to, I have more experience on this, so I would actually play things that I hear in my mind. But if you're not there yet, you can just finger any specific exercise that you might be practicing and make sure that it's really even. And if you can sing along with it, sort of like, even though if you're not in the perfect tune, just get those fingers even. You can put a metronome, find a little metronome or just some regular tapping and just really practice that evenness. Practice your phrasing, a phrase that maybe when you are with your saxophone, it never shows up. So just do it here. Right? Practice it, get those fingerings going, right? That's gonna be amazing because when you grab your saxophone, a lot of things start showing up. That's one of the things. If you're a saxophone player, another thing you can do is don't forget about your breathing exercises. I still see students making the mistake of shallow breath and then just grabbing the saxophone and not breathing correctly. So hey, just practice your breathing. You can do that even if you're walking. Try this. 10 steps inhaling, 10 steps holding, 10 steps exhaling, right? So right now I'm not going to walk, but I can just do a count of 10. So hold. Do that 5 times and you'll see how you're gonna feel like you went to the gym. It's amazing what it does. It really trains, like heats your diaphragm, and it gets you ready to, if you do that before playing the saxophone even, it's just a great little warm-up for yourself. You'll get so much air in you. So that's another thing you can do. Hey, make sure you're breathing correctly. That's a great time to practice that. Practice finger tapping, put a metronome if you can. Hey, if you don't have a pencil available, just tap it somewhere. You can do that. Simulate the saxophone fingering. Pianists do that as well. The piano sometimes is easier. You just don't go on a table. But that will train your finger evenness, okay? Now, another thing you can do, which is, of course, extremely, extremely valuable to me, and is probably the thing that has boosted my musicality the most, is write your own phrases or solos, or just whatever you can do. If you have access to, let's say, a manuscript paper or a computer or something, just write something down. Hey, if you can't play, this is the perfect opportunity to write something. I actually love writing when I'm not able to play, so that then later on I'll take what I wrote, and when I have my saxophone, a lot of things start showing up. So I would just write a solo. For example, this week, I'm going to write a lot of stuff that I won't be able to play until later, but I'm going to write some solos, some phrases. Maybe I'll grab a standard or a tune that I struggle with. I'll just try to write phrases, not over the whole thing even. Just grab some specific amount of chords and just write something, get your musicality going, write some phrases. You can see all of that on my melody hacks training. That's the perfect thing to apply here, right? How to just grab certain rhythms and start writing your own phrases. And then take all of that information, and when you actually can play, you'll have all of this that you created that you'll be able to practice and be super efficient on. And then the other thing, which I always tell my students and just every musician I've met, is, hey, what I call the rhythm notebook. Have a rhythm notebook. That means that you can, this is literally what I would call NET practice, no extra time. Develop your rhythm vocabulary. This is something that I see so many students lacking, right? When they're trying to develop their musicianship, or even when they play and they have the harmony and scales and stuff in their fingers, but they don't have any rhythmic accuracy, like no rhythmic ideas. And rhythm is the most elemental and important part of melody, of music. If you don't have effective rhythms, or stylistic rhythms for that matter, or specific style, then you will just sound like a bunch of notes and scales, and something that we don't want that. We want to sound melodic. So how do you do that? Have a rhythm notebook, a little piece of paper, handwritten or on a computer, where you're only going to write rhythmic ideas, no notes. You can be like rhythm notations. So you can start with, I talk a lot about that in my trainings and courses. You can start with very simple 4-note rhythms. Ba da ba 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 da ba ba boo ba. Like you can, apply a style, make it swing eighth notes or regular eighth notes, whatever it is, but just start implementing rhythms, 4-note rhythms on a basic 4/4 measure, right? You can expand later on, do a 5-note rhythm, ba ba boo ba 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 ba, 6-note rhythm, right? You can do all of that. But start very simple and start writing them down. As you write them down, try to memorize them and see if you can, as your day goes by and you're doing something else, just sing your rhythms. And my challenge here for you is, can you improvise with your voice over a metronome or just some tapping? Can you improvise for more than 1 minute non-stop with just rhythms? Meaning, like, it would sound something like this: 1, 2, 3, ba da ba 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 ba. Ba da ba da ba 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 da do da da do da ba 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 da ba 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 do ba do ba do ba 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 da 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 do da ba 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 do ba do ba 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 da da. So I'm not really focusing on pitches at all. I'm just trying to, and that was like a medium swing, right? Or it can be any style. If it's funk, 1, 2, ba ka do da ba ba. So just like that, no pitches, just can you be fluent rhythmically? If you cannot do it with your mouth and you cannot have a succession of rhythmic ideas like that flow, then it's going to affect your playing. You're not going to be able to really play effective melodic stuff. So rhythm is the best thing you can practice. with no instruments. You don't need anything. In fact, I mean, I recommend you write those rhythms, but if you can't write, just sing them. And if you don't have any rhythmic ideas, listen to the music you love. Grab any tune and transcribe just the rhythm of the horn section. You know, Uptown Funk. Ba 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 ba. So then grab that and just, you know, groove with it. See if you can make a variation of it, and just start expanding your rhythmic vocabulary unattached to specific notes. That's amazing, because then when you start applying all these melodic scales and chords and scales, you can easily attach those rhythms. Rhythms are internalized, they're not mechanized. Harmony and scales, all of that you can mechanize in your fingers, but not rhythms. So rhythms is something you internalize, and that's a way to do it. Anywhere, anytime you're walking, cleaning the dishes, cleaning your house, walking your dogs, even at work, if you have a 5-minute break during lunch, start thinking on some rhythmic ideas. You know, think of a style, think of a song, and just get your rhythms going. If you do all of this without your horn, when you actually grab your horn, you know, if you've been writing stuff, if you've been working on your rhythmic vocabulary, if you've been doing some of that tapping on a pencil or something, all of that's going to show up, and you're going to just be a much better player for it. So hope you enjoyed this video, and hope this, you know, is useful. I'll have more videos like this soon, and well, hope you enjoy. See you on the next one. Bye.